So previously we learned how to solve percents using ratios, and ratios work really well a lot of the time, but I also want to show you how to solve them with equations. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Just quick review. What does a percent mean? And hopefully you said, oh, it means out of 100. And there you go. Exactly. It means out of 100. Percent also shows a part to a whole. So if I was looking at this, and hopefully you're familiar with seeing something like this from our ratios, the part over the whole, the is over the of. We should be really familiar with this with fractions, because a fraction, the bottom is always 100% or out of 100, and the top is the part. So if you ate half a pizza, the part would be the one, the whole would be however number of slices it would be. So maybe it was 1 out of 2. You ate 1 part out of 2 parts. 1 part out of the whole. So let's keep moving. 25% of 40 is what number? We know how to solve this with a ratio. We're going to go ahead and learn to solve it as an equation. And this means that we're going to need to continue learning to read mathematically. Some of you guys are going to like this a lot better than ratios, and I definitely want to show you both ways. So our first step is to change the percent to a fraction or a decimal. And with the ratios, guys, we were changing it already to a percent. We already know how to do that. So we know that a percent's out of 100, so if we're changing it to a fraction, it would just be 25 over 100, and then we would go ahead, in this case, and simplify it. So it would simplify to 1/4. And I'm going to keep solving this as a fraction with you. So the next thing on here, I've got to change to my clicker, hopefully. Go. Okay, there we go. The next thing I'm going to ask, since I've changed to my fraction, is what do you know when I'm reading mathematically? 25% of, and I taught you that the of is the whole. I'm also going to tell you that of means multiply. When you see of, it also means multiply. So 25% of multiply. 40 is the part, right, guys? Is the part. It can also mean equals. So 25% times 40 equals what number? I can make my 40 out of or over 1. A whole number is always over 1. There's an invisible 1 underneath it. Cross cancel. Hopefully we know how to do that by now. Divide by 4 is 1. Divide by 4 is 10. 1 times 10 is 10. So this is just another way of looking at it. If I was to go back and do this with the ratio reasoning, I would do it very similar. 25 over 100. And I can simplify that if I want, can't I? However, I'm probably not, well, actually, I think I do need to for this problem. But let's try without. So of 40. Of 40. I know that my of is my whole, so 40 goes on the bottom. And my is the part, the thing I don't know right here. To be able to solve this, I will definitely need to simplify. So I'm going to cross this out and make it 1/4, because I can't very easily go from 40 to 100 or vice versa. But I can go from 4 to 40. So 4 times 10 and times 10. So we got the same answer. 25% of 40 is 10. We just set it up a little bit differently, using our of as a multiplication sign and our is as an equal sign. Let's go back one here, and let's try this with a decimal. Oh, come on, clicker here. We go back. There we go. So change the percent to a fraction or a decimal. Let's try it as a decimal. Decimals are easy to convert from percents because we know that DP is like this. Or we use our Dr. Pepper. We're getting super good at that. So percent to decimal, I'm moving 1 to the left. 1, 2. So that means I have 0.25. And like we just talked about, of means multiply. So 25% times 40 is what number? And we just figured that out. If we went longhand, 40 times 2.5, we can do that over here, even though I really struggle to write with this. 0, 4 times 5 is 20. Add my 0 for my placeholder. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 4 is 8. Draw your line, add them up, 0, 0, 10. And then I need to check my decimals. I have 1, 2 decimal places, and I got 10. So, wow, 3 ways to do the same thing, kind of mind-blowing. I have another problem that I'd like to work on with you. So a story problem. So let's flip back forward here. Okay, look at this cool dude, and he biffs it. So a 6th grade student, a 6th grade basketball player made 20% of the 30 shots he took. How many of his shots went in the bucket? So let's go ahead and set this up as an equation. I know that we'll do it both ways, guys. We'll do this first of all as a fraction. So I know that 20% is 20 over 100. Over 100, which simplifies divide by 20 to 1/5. So 20% of is multiply the 30 shots he took. So here's my 30 over 1. Cross cancel, divide by 5, so this becomes a 6. So he made 6, well, 20% of 30 is 6 shots. He made 6 of his shots. Let's try it with a decimal. Use your Dr. Pepper. Percent to decimal, 1, 2 to the left, 1, 2. So I have 0.2 of is multiply, so times 30. And hopefully I know that 3 times 2 is 6, and that's the answer again. So there you go. So you guys have a couple ways to solve this, but today I do want you to focus on breaking this apart not as a ratio, but as an equation.